Hi, welcome back to A Mother's Journey to Holistic Health and Healing. I'm your host, Marissa Prieto. Thank you so much for joining and listening in today. This is episode 4. In today's episode, I wanted to get into creating and visualizing your best, highest, healthiest selves. This is what we call your wellness vision in the health coaching world. And the reason why I wanted to come on and share this is I feel like before getting into what I was thinking about is I wanted to come on and share a little bit about, maybe redefining what health and healthy means to you. But before even getting into that, I'll save that for another episode. I think it's really helpful for our future and for what we want in terms of our health and well-being, if we can really reflect and think about and creating space for that, actually, space and energetic space to think about who is that person for me? Who is this person when I'm feeling my best mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually? What am I doing? What habits have I built? And how am I creating resilience? And how am I getting through life's challenges when it comes to healing from any kind of life experiences that we have gone through or are currently going through? And in the future, and thinking about how will I be able to respond to some of those types of challenging situations, maybe certain habits and patterns that you'd like to change and work on that maybe you admire about somebody else, and you're thinking, wow, I really admire this person, how they're so strong and they speak their mind, and when something challenges comes up, they just kind of go with the flow. They don't let it get to them. Kind of thinking about you could have that too. That is totally 100% possible for you. So I wanted to walk you down this path towards the end of the episode and take you on this little visualization to creating and thinking about your highest, best, healthiest self, your wellness vision. And also, something important to note is that this health vision can always evolve and change, right? I think that's something else important to note, that you might have one idea or something that you're wanting to change in your lifestyle around your health and wellness, and then have a shift and you realize that's not actually what I really want. I want to do this instead, right? So I think it's important that you also have kind of be an open book to change, that it doesn't have to go that way 100%. You might get there a different way, of course, with life's challenges, and that it might change, and that's okay, right? It's okay if it changes or if it goes not 100% to plan. And at least it's not, it's not set in stone, and it's not a finish. There's no finish line, right? It's kind of like a never-ending journey, not a sprint, not even a marathon, but a lifelong journey. So I think if we can think about this in terms of our health and well-being and certain goals that we have and behaviors that we're trying to bring into our life that are positive and beneficial to our health and well-being, that we see it in terms of a journey or a process, something that you're willing to put intention into and practice. And I would say imperfect practice, especially as us busy moms. And even maybe, redefining what consistency can mean to you, right? And that will be another topic and going into that. But that's something that really, that you could take steps towards through life circumstances. You'll know that maybe you'll fall off, but you'll get back on track. That there's no giving up and that there's no finish line, like I mentioned. And the destination, there's no destination. Every part should be beautiful. And sometimes going through this process, we learn things through challenging situations, and we can use that to help us propel even further to this best, healthiest version of ourselves. So sometimes we gain a lot of self-awareness. And it's, it's like an overarching goal, right? It's things that you want to have. It's behaviors that you want to develop. It's a person that you'd like to be. And so when we can have some time to really stop and think about that, it can help serve kind of like a roadmap or the building blocks, kind of like the foundation to help you become aware and see, like, what do I actually really want right now? Do I take the time to actually write down what I want and what makes me feel good and what doesn't make me feel good or doesn't lift me up, right? Thinking about the things that benefit you all around and your well-being as opposed to some of the things that don't, and making them a little bit, trying to prioritize them a little bit better and seeing what kind of tools and resources and support you might need to make some of those things happen, one small step at a time. And we do this by building a foundation, right? Building a foundation starts with self-awareness and becoming, how would I say, just creating this vision for yourself one small step at a time, and even adding it to it little by little when you feel like you have some realizations about some things that you'd like to change or cultivate within yourself. You can kind of visualize it or think about it as a pyramid, right? You might have like your best, healthiest, highest self at the very top of this pyramid. That's where you'd like to get to. That's the journey, right? Climbing that pyramid, we know that there's going to be some types of roadblocks or barriers. We know that there's going to be lots of wins and that there's going to be lots of challenges, right? So kind of, not, like I said, trying to go in as seeing it as an open book, right? And trying to embrace what comes upon you. So in this pyramid of our best self, starting with self-awareness, sometimes it's also really helpful to think about your values, like what do I value most in life right now? What's important to me right now around my health and my wellness and well-being? Is it, spending time with my family? Is it making time to spend out in nature, moving my body, or trying to get into a more nutritious eating patterns and eat more, just kind of thinking about what maybe are some of the values that you have a high regard to and that you have strong beliefs behind, right? Because I think that can really help to support these changes that you're making, to see, is this change or is this habit pattern in alignment with my values? Another thing, and taking consideration too, as we're thinking about our highest best self, is I think it's really helpful as well to think about what your strengths are, and just think, what are my strengths? What are those characteristics about myself that I know when I'm getting through a tough time, what helps me, like really thinking about those characteristics of what makes you strong. What are the things that make me feel strong? I feel strong when fill in the blank. We can, especially during difficult times, when we can recall our strengths, we know that we're a bit more confident and that we're more likely to succeed and make progress when we can recall our strengths, versus the opposite of criticism or judgment, or thinking of yourself as, never being able to succeed, or a failure, or, procrastination, or whatever it is might be the challenge for yourself in that. But I think when we're able to call upon our strengths, that can also help us, if we're thinking about a strength from the past. Well, what helped me during this time in the past? What worked for me back then that made me help me in this current state of making change with my health and wellness? And then taking self-responsibility, right? I think taking self-responsibility, that realizing and understanding that the only person that has the ability to take care of yourself in a way that you would like to is yourself. I think that helps, and taking this responsibility of saying, gives you autonomy and determination that I am responsible for taking care of myself and my needs. No one else is going to do it. So what can I do the best that I can to reach my goal of my highest, best, healthiest self? And I think along the way on this path and journey up this pyramid, up this, building blocks, we start to discover and peel the layers of certain things and have realizations that would be surprising to you, that are in a positive way at the same time. And you realize things like, oh, wow, I didn't realize how strong I really am that I got through this. And that just strengthens the foundation of this pyramid to your highest, best, healthiest selves and reassures you that you're on this right path. And sometimes those thoughts of self-doubt, like, can I really do this? Do I really want to do that, right? We have some thoughts that might not be helpful or unproductive that kind of take us steps back, or maybe thinking we're not worthy of it or that it's not for you, but actually deep down inside you kind of wish that was for you, right? Then that's still part of your soul speaking out to you. Like, this is still possible for you, and if you really want this, you can make it happen with some little bit of work, right? And support. So I think that would be some of the kind of like the building blocks when starting to build to this pyramid and to your highest self, is thinking about your values, thinking about your strengths. What were some things that helped you before that you can call upon when you're getting through tough times, right? Successes that gave you pride or accomplishment. And so that way you're able to create and develop have this self-awareness of where you're at in this current moment in time, of the things that are giving you joy and that are giving you good health, health promoting behaviors that you're currently doing to support your well-being and your highest self. So if you can also think about that, what things am I already doing now that support my current health and well-being that will also support me in the long run that I would like to maintain? What are the activities, right? Things that you're doing that make you feel the most full of life. This is what we call, like your energetic field or chi, where you feel just filled with light, right? Your energetic vibrations are at the highest and you're feeling balanced and you're feeling good, like everything's flowing. So what about those moments when you're feeling like that? What people are you surrounding yourself? Are you putting boundaries in certain places around workplace or people, certain activities or habits that you are doing or not doing, maybe less alcohol, maybe less caffeine and stimulants, maybe more sleep, right? So kind of maybe just thinking about the things that help you thrive to feel the most full of life. And another big aspect I feel like that's important for our highest best self, right, is the desire, like what's behind the desire to change to get there. I think that's also another important component, and thinking about what's driving me, what's this driving force and motivation behind this desire that I want to make change on this highest, best, healthiest self. So what's important to me? Why do I want to become this person, this highest, healthiest person a year from now, 5 years from now, whatever it may be, right? What is your why? Because I feel like when we can identify our why, there's meaning behind that. And the meaning creates this emotion within our body that's stronger than any type of, say, affirmation that you just write down. It doesn't have meaning to it or value to it. So if you can think about your why, is it for your children that you want to be able to, or grandchildren, right? Depending on where you're at right now on your motherhood journey. Is it to see them, grow and thrive in life and see them finish school or college or start their own business or have their own family or, see their marriage or whatever the case may be? You want to see them succeed. You want to, maybe your family and your children is one motivation for you, right? To be able to be filled more with energy, have that energetic capacity to do more outdoor activities with them, hiking or traveling with them, feeling like you can have the energy to keep up with them, maybe playing sports or getting out of your comfort zone, going places of their interest that maybe don't quite interest you, but that those are their interests and that's important to them. So you want to be involved in getting to know them and their interests in terms of your children. So thinking about like, what is your why? Longevity. You want to go through this life without having to feel Like you need others to step in with your well-being and your health. And there's some times where we may need the support from our family, right? Of course, you know, in those challenging times where maybe you've been diagnosed with a medical condition and you need help and support, and thank God, you know, if you have those people in your corner, those family or friends to help support you through those challenging times. But I think, you know, really thinking about your why. Why is it important for me to become this person? Maybe it's professionally in your work. Maybe you're wanting to create your own business, or, you know, have get promoted, and thinking about, well, who is that person when I've gotten promoted or have my own business, right? Just kind of thinking about what it would feel like and be like to be that person. I think that could be helpful, so that we can just notice for first step to seeing, what would it actually feel like in your body? Like how would that feel emotionally? So that you get to know that person, and then you can start taking steps, and maybe even thinking about that person once you have a little bit clearer picture. So it can start with building some clarity. That's what we're doing, is we're building a foundation, which also will help with building clarity. Clarity to who is this person, and what am I already doing now that is helping me to become that person? Or what are some things that maybe I'd like to let go of and change to help me become closer to that person, this different identity, this different version of you. And I'll give you an example just using myself. I mean, for me, you know, and as you can relate, as a mom of wearing maybe many different types of hats, right? Maybe you're a single mom, and so you're having to play, you know, serve as, you know, the both mother and father figure. And maybe you have a full-time job and a part-time job. Maybe you teach classes and you work, right? So there's all different hats that I'm sure that you have, and kind of that's where I'm at in my health and wellness journey, right? Is, yes, I'm a mom and I have 2 jobs, and trying to get, you know, also as well do some coaching on the side, right, to building my own business as well, having this podcast. So we have all different kinds of hats. And for me, having a vision of my highest, best, healthiest self, one step closer that I've taken is really doing some intentional work connecting to my spiritual health. So for me, that is slowing down more. That is making more time for meditation and for yoga, having more self-reflecting questions about my life and myself and what's meaningful to me and what gives me joy, and trying to focus more on the present, on the here and now. Having less anxiety, because I know my highest, best, healthiest self doesn't feel like she needs to control everything. She is a little bit more easygoing and likes to have fun, isn't as serious. And, you know, so as I realize some of the things and ways of being that I would like to let go of, so that I can fully enjoy life and this physical body and this vehicle that in which I am experiencing this life and in which you are experiencing life, right? To be able to live life as best as I can to the fullest with my children and with friends and my family. I realize some of the things that are weighing me down to not being that person. So by creating this health and wellness vision, it might be helpful for you to realize what those things are for you, so you can get closer and closer to that person. And you start acting and doing the things. And so, for instance, for me, one big thing that I've been recalling back into my life now that I have more energetic capacity, that my girls are sleeping a little longer. I have 1-year-old twins and a 6-year-old, and they still kind of wake up at night, but now they're sleeping more through the night. I'm getting more sleep. That gives me a lot more energy to free up in my body and do things that I put on hold while I was pregnant with the girls. So it's getting back to my Reiki practice and practicing self-Reiki, learning more about Reiki, and wanting to, start practicing and doing healing Reiki sessions, maybe on my family and some friends. So starting to take some steps into my more spiritual path and what my soul wants and what my authentic self wants, and going and working down that path, right? Getting closer to finding stillness and rituals or routines that uplift my soul and my spirit. So for me, those are some things that I could share as an example of where I'm taking action to becoming this person. And I don't know exactly where it will lead me, but I will just trust in myself and the universe and creator and God, whatever you want to call it for yourself, your highest power. You can just have trust that it's going to lead me where I'm meant to go. So having that why, I feel, is a very important part to creating your health and wellness vision, your best, healthiest self. So now I'd like to take a few minutes, if you'd like to take a pause, and if you're able to, and if you feel safe, if you're driving, maybe save this part for later when you have some time, when you've gotten home and maybe the kids are asleep, or maybe you have some quiet time in your car and before you head home from work or before picking up the kids or whatnot. And we're just going to take a few minutes to visualize maybe who this person is, because oftentimes when I'm working with somebody, they're not quite sure what their highest best self looks like. They've been really busy as a mom and kind of losing sight. You might hear and read about that, right? Once you become a mom, you lose the things that your interests that you used to once have, and you don't want to lose yourself. Sometimes it's not uncommon, and don't feel alone if that's how you feel, because you're not alone. And sometimes it's just taking a little bit of quiet time of reflection and meditation, practicing mindfulness to just recall those things. And it can just take some time and practice, and that's okay. And if you don't remember, or nothing comes to mind as you're doing this visualization, that's okay too. It's like an open book. So maybe it's just creating some new things from scratch, which is also really cool too, because then the sky is the limit with possibilities. So wherever you are, I'd like you to, whether maybe you're laying down or you're sitting down, and I invite you to close your eyes if you feel safe to do so. And if you're lying down, maybe you have your hands on your belly or on your heart, or just resting at your sides. And if you're sitting down, likewise the same. Maybe your hands are facing upwards, palms upwards, or palms facing downwards if you feel you need a little bit more grounding. If you're sitting, keeping your feet nice and planted. If you're able to, maybe you can remove your socks and your shoes and just have your feet planted on the ground. And if you're even, but take it a step further, if you're able to, maybe going outside and resting your feet on the earth, planting your feet on the earth. And once you're settled into this position, whether you're lying down or seated, let's take one deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, sighing it out. And start to notice the sounds around you. Maybe some birds chirping, or the sounds of cars or dogs barking. The seat beneath you, or your bed, or the surface beneath your body, the clothing on your body. The temperature, maybe the air if you're sitting outside, noticing the temperature around you. Is the sun shining on your face, or feeling a fresh breeze? Taking a deep breath in here. And release. And just starting to notice the rhythm of your breath. Noticing the rise and fall of your chest. Noticing the rise and fall of your belly. Taking another deep breath in through your nose, and we can try to inhale for 4. And hold for 4. And release for 4. Let's do that again. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 4. And now I'd like you to visualize and go to your maybe quiet place or a happy place, somewhere where you feel comfortable, somewhere where you feel peaceful and strong and confident. Maybe you also feel relaxed. Taking a deep breath in through your nose and out. What does your quiet place look like? Or your happy place look like? Notice, how do you feel being there? And maybe what's around you? Are there people surrounding you? Or animals? Or trees? Or flowers? Or you in a garden? Or at the beach? Think about, where is this place that you feel most comfortable? Is it in your home, in the backyard, or front yard? Is it a place that maybe you enjoyed being as a young girl? What was it? And maybe now, as you're in this comfortable, peaceful place and you're feeling relaxed and strong, taking a deep breath in through your nose. And out. Picture yourself maybe 5 years from now. What does your health, fitness, or wellness look like to you? What are you wearing? Do you like to wear, are you wearing more comfortable, looser clothing that feel good on your skin? Or maybe are there more workout clothes or professional type clothing? Outfits or clothes that you see on a friend or someone you admire, you're like, oh, that looks really nice. I would like to wear something like that. Maybe jewelry, certain pieces of jewelry. What do you notice about how you feel on your physical body? Are you feeling strong, rested? Maybe you notice how you might feel about yourself and your body image. What's the relationship there? Are you feeling more confident, more accepting and appreciative of your body and all that does for you? Have you made peace with your body and have gratitude to all that it does? How are you taking care of yourself at this time? What things, hobbies, activities might you be doing that are creative? Maybe things recalling of some things that you used to do when you were a young girl that were creative and that you enjoyed doing. Playing an instrument, singing, playing a certain sport. Noticing how that felt when you were that age. Taking a deep breath in through your nose. And out. What brought you happiness? Did you love to read and explore outdoors? Now imagine that it's already 5 years from now and you've accomplished a lot of your health and wellness goals. And you're that person. You're doing those things. You've changed a lot of habits. You've worked on a lot of things. You're resilient. You've got through lots of challenges, taken steps back, but always got back on track and never gave up. What does that feel like? What are you doing differently? What's the same? What did you do to get there? and who's around you. How are you feeling mentally? What kind of thoughts are you having? What is your self-talk like? What is your emotional health like? How are you feeling emotionally? Are you seeing that your emotional intelligence has improved and you're taking care of your emotional and mental health more? What would that look like for you? How would you be doing that? And what would you be doing to take care of your mental and emotional health that you like to be doing? And who's helping you along the way? Who are those people, your support system that you can count on? And has become a big support system for you. Taking a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Maybe inviting you to place one hand in your heart. Giving yourself thanks and gratitude for taking this moment and this time to think about who is this highest, healthiest, best self? And what are the steps that I can take to get there? And why is it important to me? Taking another deep breath in through your nose. Sigh it out. And when you're ready, maybe start to wiggle your toes or your fingers or stretch it out. Maybe rolling your shoulders back or doing a head and neck roll. And slowly start to open your eyes. So how was that for you? One thing that might be helpful for you is maybe writing it down in a journal, or like I said, some people like to do vision boards and they'll create some kinds of clips and pieces, photos, pictures, and put them together to help them remember who this healthiest person is for themselves, what they want to create with their life and for themselves and for their family. I hope you found this exercise helpful and know that you can use it anytime. So maybe you're in bed and you're trying to visualize and think about your healthiest, best self. Maybe right now it's not quite resonating, and that's okay. But there will be a time when it will, and it will come to you when it's supposed to, and you just trust in that. But maybe you can start to get curious about who is this best, healthiest person of myself? And what are some small things? What is one small step I can do today to help me get there? And that's just a practice. That's all we can do day after day is just practice as best as we can and imperfectly, with curiosity, with self-compassion, and less judgment and criticism. That you are taking full responsibility for your health and well-being. And it's nobody else's job but yours. And you got this. And you're doing the best that you can. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening today. I hope you found this tool helpful for you today. And remember, you can recall and go back to it at any time that you need it for some guiding and some visualization. If you're interested in working together and you'd like some support on your health and wellness journey and healing, please reach out to me. You can either go to the link in the show notes and schedule a consultation call with me, or you can also reach me on Instagram as well. All right, well, I hope you all have a great rest of your week and take care. Sending you lots of love and light.